Are you a pressure on wrestler or a pressure off wrestler? I think there's a difference, right? So, you know, you look at someone like Tim Grover, who was Michael Jordan's performance coach, and he mentions more pressure, more pressure, more pressure. Obviously, that can be overdone by coaches and parents, right? But the other approach is, oh, it's just about fun. It doesn't matter if you win. Just have gratitude and you will magically win a bunch of Olympic gold medals. That's not going to work either. All the gratitude crowd, those people rip your freaking head off if they get a chance, right? So I believe that we're most of us are a little bit of both. So if you're a crazy, stressed out athlete, then you need to take a little bit more of a pressure off approach. But, you know, making a decision is the most powerful thing that a human being can do. You know, I remember as a kid, you know, I've said this many times, my dad would turn the car off and he'd be like, okay, boys, we did not come here to lose, did we? And we'd say, nope. That's making a decision, right? Now, for a coach to go to a guy and say, if you don't win, the whole team's going to lose, and and our whole season is on your shoulders. Well, that's a lot of pressure. But to say, oh, it doesn't matter if you fun as long as you have, it doesn't matter if you win as long as you have fun and you have gratitude. Well, that's not good either. So I think most of us are in the middle, and you just have to self-evaluate a little bit. And you might find yourself, you know, it's important when you go, here I am. Somebody's getting beat today. I'm here for the gold medal. That's the only reason I'm here. You know, when David Taylor beat the Iranian, I think it's the president of USA Wrestling, said he had never heard a grown man howl with such horrific agony as Yazdani from Iran. And it went on and on and on. He was in pain. He showed up to win. He didn't show up to be grateful for the opportunity to be in the Olympics. He showed up for the gold medal. That's the only reason he was there. Arsen Fedzayev, who I think is probably the best wrestler ever in history, right? He, I think considered number 3 or something. He went up a weight class and took on Kenny Monday. Big mistake. Kenny Monday put the freaking beat down on him. But, you know, I think Fedzayev won 9 world titles, 2 Olympic titles, I think. So he's, you know, but, you know, I heard when I was at Oklahoma State, because Coach Monday was one of our coaches. It was phenomenal being around that guy. And I guarantee he didn't show up for gratitude. He showed up to freaking win. That's the only reason. That guy doesn't do anything except for try to win. That's it. He's all in. Is he a pressure on, a high expectation guy? Yeah. But after Fedzayev got beat, I heard like in the locker room, the guys were talking that Fedzayev was like in awe. Up until then, he'd only lost 1 time internationally. And they said you had to like almost carry the guy to the award stand. He was just like freaked out. So there is a level of commitment of being all in. And that's putting some pressure on yourself. Say, hey, I need to win, okay? We have a guy, Kyle Bradley. He was number 5 in the NCAAs and last minute lost his opportunity to compete in the NCAA tournament. The same year Drake Halderschelt won it. They were workout partners. Kyle also beat St. John from Iowa, who was a 2-timer, and did not win it that year. But Kyle was in a position to possibly win the state title or the NCAA title. And I told Kyle, I'm like, hey, you know, really, when you're ranked, you know, top 6 or 7 in the NCAAs, success for you is gold. That's it. Not sure if you're a 19-year-old boy and the coach throws you in the lineup because Cornell University starter blew his knee out. You probably aren't going to put pressure on yourself to win the NCAA title, but you're still going to have high expectations, right? So we can't be a psychotic pressure on, coaches pressuring kids. Your whole year comes down to this one match. But many times it does, doesn't it? So I think feeling the urgency and setting the tone and setting the high expectation is vital. It's like we worked through COVID with our company. I didn't sleep for 6 months, but I was committed to making it work. We had camps that year, biggest camp ever. I had to add on space, but I worked with the judge. I worked with the health department. I worked with the sheriff. I worked with everybody. I told the sheriff, "You're gonna have to come arrest me. I'm having camp. We will have camp," and we did, right? And now we come to find out that, we should not have locked everyone down. A lot of more kids died killing themselves who were locked in their basement for 2 years, right? So, I think a lot of states and a lot of nations had it right. But that was very stressful. But I was committed to making it work. I was not going to fail. So was that putting pressure on myself? You're damn right it was. You got to put pressure on yourself. You're like a single mom with 3 kids at home. She puts pressure on herself every day. She's like, I will win. My kids will not enter the gang, lifestyle. I am going to earn my way out of this place. I mean, that woman's a warrior. So that's the mindset I'm talking about. So you can't be one extreme or the other, but you can't just show up for fun. Sometimes you got to show up to knock walls down, knock down the pins, pull off a takedown. I remember years ago, John Smith's son, he was yelling at his dad. His mom was telling me this. He was like 11. He's like, "You're the best wrestler in the world, and you won't help me." And John was out of town. And apparently what Tony told me, that his wife told me, that John told him, was like, "Hey, you have Jim O'Kelly coaching you. He's second in the Olympics. You have a bunch of good coaches, son." He's like, and he kind of snapped at him and said, "When you need a takedown and you go out there and get one, then I help you. When you have to get an escape and you do it at the buzzer and then you win in overtime, that's when you need my help." He said, "Joe, until you learn how to do that, you don't need my help." And so what is that? That's pressure on, right? You gotta learn how to build and pull it together. So, I think Tim Grover's right. And I also think that, the long-term perspective approach is right. It is not life or death. I know a guy, Byron Tucker, won the NCAA title for OU. He failed to win it 2 years in a row. Met with a performance coach, and she had him sit down and map out his whole life after not winning an NCAA title, and he realized his life was still going to be amazing. Pat Smith told me to my face after he won his 4th NCAA title, he's like, "The reason I was able to win was because I knew that, I'm still going to be a wrestling coach in college. I've got 3 NCAA titles already. The expectations for me, I want to win them, but it's very difficult to win 4. No one's ever done it, but my life's going to be amazing no matter what." So see, he took pressure off of himself. But that's a guy going for his 4th title. Some of you guys are taking pressure off of yourself, and dude, you haven't won anything yet, right? So are you pressure on or pressure off? I think we're all both. You need to indicate those times when it's time to, dig your knuckles in the gravel and square off and pull off some big stuff. But when you find yourself, not enjoying it, turning it into a job. I know Kendall Cross said that, when he second Olympics he went to, there's a guy, he never made a world team ever. He never even won the US Open, I don't think. I don't know if he ever won the US Open. But he made the Olympic team twice. So when it was time to shine, that some bitch could shine. And he said the second Olympics, he enjoyed it. And that's probably why he was able to win the NCAA title, or the Olympic title, where the first time he didn't necessarily enjoy it. So, if you find yourself turning it into a job, you're miserable. Let's get perspective. Let's take the pressure off a little bit. But if you're in the state semis and you're wrestling someone who's beaten you twice in overtime, buddy, you better put the pressure on. It's time to win, right? And one day when you're fighting through a career and it's time to crush it, and your whole family's financial future depends upon you winning, and yes, making a bunch of money and kicking ass and getting the job promotion, all right? Pressure on time. It's time to win, right? And it might take 2-3 years. So you got to have that desire and psychotic desire for, 1,100 days in a row until it happens. So sometimes pressure on, it's going to last, 1,000 days in a row. You have to just have that desire. So pressure on, pressure off. We actually did write a paper about this years ago. Drake University had a master's degree program. This was like in 2001 I wrote this. It was a part of our online academy, which was DVDs back then. It was a booklet. And the guy putting together the coaching program for the master's degree, and in positive coaching, I think was the master's degree, and for athletic directors to take. He's like, can I use your pressure on, pressure off article? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, well, you have to sign for it or whatever. So I signed some legal document from Drake University. He's like, I could not write this any better. I'm going to use it word for word. So I thought that was kind of a good compliment. That was 20 years ago. So, whether you believe this is a video for you or not, it's going to be. Because you're going to hit these tipping points in your career where you gotta realize that, a little bit of both is key. And your back's going to be against the wall, and you're going to have to throw down at some point in time. And you're going to just say, hey, I'm here to win. That's it. Right? I know when I was in Oklahoma State, I went a couple months getting my head beat in by Corey Bays and Kendall Cross and Eddie Woodburn, and talked to my dad. He's like, are you sure you're in the right place? And I got kind of pissed. I was like, no, I'm fine. Because, I had made a decision before that I was going to I was never not going to make the team. I didn't care if I had to work out 20 hours a day. And I always was able to, so was my brother. It was a good thing. He went on to win the NCAA title. I was All-American, But still in all, looking back at some of my losses, and you can look back at some of your losses, it's just because, you didn't show up. You didn't plan on winning. And, you just weren't enough of a jerk going into the competition. So applying more pressure is sometimes very necessary. And you coaches need to understand that too. Good luck.